Sometimes you just need to learn how to lose. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds really wild, but sometimes you do. But in the end, is it really losing? After all, one of the biggest things that I've had to accept as I've gotten older is that my ego has gotten me in way more BS, has gotten me in way more trouble than anybody else actually ever has. And that's saying something, okay? Now, I know ego kind of sounds like one of those like woo-woo spiritual buzzwords, right? And like sometimes, yes, it can be, okay? Because sometimes even I use it in that way. But I'm simply talking about that part of yourself, right? That cannot simply take the L. That part of yourself that says stuff like, no, they have to choose me. They have to understand me. They have to see my value. They have to regret losing me. They have to see me on Instagram flexing and shining. They have to apologize to me. They have to give me closure. I have to have this experience. I have to have that experience. I have to have this material thing because I want to be seen in this particular way, right? That's what I'm talking about here. And for me, throughout most of my early years of my life, throughout my 20s especially, something in me was always so attached to getting a certain kind of outcome. So much so that I wasn't even asking myself anymore, do I want this particular thing? I was just obsessed with what I thought I wanted. I was just obsessed with not being the loser. And by the time I really started to pay attention to that, to like notice that I was even doing that, I said, girl, so many of your decisions, especially in dating and love and relationships, are being made simply from your ego. Simply from your ego space. That's it, that's all. I was getting myself into relationships not even because I wanted a relationship that bad. Not even because I wanted this particular person that bad, because they were so compatible with me on every single level. But because I wanted to know I could get the relationship. I used to argue not because I wanted to actually win the argument or I cared about winning the argument for real, but because I was too obsessed with not being perceived as wrong. And I used to seek, closure from people, seek unnecessary closure conversations and all kinds of things like that, not because I really even needed it. I just couldn't stand the idea that somebody could just walk away from me, okay, or not give a damn, or exit the relationship without fully understanding things from my perspective or really seeing me for who I am, right? And when you think about it, those are, totally different motivations. I also think that in a lot of these particular kinds of scenarios, this is where we can sabotage ourselves the most without even realizing it. Because what happens when your ego really gets involved, when it's running the show? You actually start negotiating against yourself. You end up staying places that really actually make you miserable just because you don't want to feel rejected or feel like you gave up or feel like you were the weak person. You'll keep explaining yourself to people who have already shown you how they feel about you or, have already made up their minds about you. Chasing opportunities that don't even fit you or your lifestyle for real because somewhere in your mind, somewhere along the way, you decided if I don't get this, if I don't do this thing, what does it say about me? Meanwhile, you got life over here literally trying to redirect you, and you're over here arguing with the doggone GPS, girl. You're not listening to the instructions. Life's GPS told you and keep telling you to go left and you want to go right. What's going on? No, literally, like I can talk about this all day, cause especially in dating, cause that really whooped me down. I was doing all kind of stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. And not even because I wanted those people as much as I thought I did. I just couldn't tolerate not being picked. I couldn't tolerate not chasing a passionate feeling. Because it's one thing to really desire something and another thing to be chasing something down because you think it'll validate you or, give you some new understanding about yourself, give you something that you feel like you're missing inside, or chasing something just simply out of fear. And we so often see people think that they're fighting for love or fighting for a relationship or fighting for a friendship or fighting for something, but they're really just fighting against feelings of rejection, feelings of unworthiness, feelings that would make them question themselves. Rejection is not difficult in itself to me anymore. I think the hardest part could be just kind of accepting that some things just aren't for you. Some people aren't for you. Some experiences are not for you. Not every friendship is supposed to work out. Not every relationship is supposed to last. And not every opportunity is gonna have your name on it, girl. And that's literally okay. And it doesn't have to be an insult, and it doesn't have to mean anything about who we are. That's just life. And sometimes letting go, you're doing yourself the biggest favor, okay? Because in letting go of things that are showing you and proving to you that you're not a fit for that, letting go of those things is really gonna open your life up in a new direction that it should be going. You know, introduce you to new people that you're more compatible with, introduce you to new experiences that you are really meant for, that you are meant to enjoy. And I think women, especially with how we're conditioned and how we're treated in society, is when things don't pan out how we think they should pan out, we kind of become obsessive with optimizing ourselves and telling ourselves that we got to be more attractive, we have to be smarter, we have to be more interesting, we have to be more chill or agreeable, successful, understanding, patient, kind, etc. All of these different things. Like, we can tell ourselves whatever, and that's not even true. It doesn't mean it's true. We have to really start thinking about why, when unfortunate things end up happening, we immediately turn inwards like, I have to be different. I have to change. I have to revamp who I am. I have to fix me because I'm the problem. Why do we immediately jump to all that when it really don't even be all that deep? Sometimes people just not rocking with you like that. Sometimes people just don't like you. And just maybe you weren't the right fit for that environment, that job, that culture, whatever. And that's cool. That's cool. We have to get more used to saying, okay, so what? And dust ourselves off. Okay, I had that experience. What's next? I think the art of simply taking an L or a loss, when most times it's not even a real loss, it's just a perceived loss, is actually an art. It's kind of a skill. Sometimes needs to be built and shaped and developed over time. As you learn more about yourself and learn more about who you are and really step into that self-love and radical self-acceptance, you really start to become less attached to outcomes and specific people, places, and things, because you understand that whatever and whoever is meant to be in your space, be in a relationship with you, have a friendship with you, whatever, it's going to be that way. And you don't have to change anything about yourself or do anything differently to receive it. And learning how to navigate through rejection or not feeling special or not feeling wanted is actually one of the most healthy things you can learn to do for your self-esteem. Real freedom in life and in love and in friendships and whatever actually comes when your self-worth stops oscillating with every yes and every no. When a yes or no isn't gonna shake your foundation, isn't going to make you question every single thing about yourself. Because once your ego can truly survive not being picked, not being chosen, not being liked, not being seen as the nice person, you stop forcing things that were never even meant for you in your path in the first place. And you're less likely to walk yourself into a miserable existence. I truly credit like 90% of my healing and growth to somewhat of a ego death that I had some years ago. And I really had a feeling that stripped down all of my pre-existing beliefs about who I was, and I had to build a new sense of self-worth and self-esteem from the ground up, because I was hanging on so tight to an outcome and it all came crashing down around me. And I was like, okay, now what? Now who am I? Working through that and coming out on the other side happier, more confident and secure, made me realize that peace was not actually in getting every single outcome I thought I wanted. And it didn't come from forcing things I had no business forcing. I feel the most peace when I'm able to look at a closed door and go, well, that door is closed. That door is closed and I'm still me. I'm still all of the wonderful things that I know I am. Being able to say that door over there is not my door. That's not my path. And actually being able to mean it. Well, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Too often we have seen our homegirl, sisters, aunties, mothers, these women around us, and really people in general, you know what I mean, end up effing up so much of their lives, clinging on so hard and desperately to people, behaviors, and ideas that they have no business even fooling with. And we hate to see it. And maybe after this video, you can think about some ways in your life, either in the past or currently, that you've allowed your ego to run the show. What happens when you change that story? I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, stay gorgeous, and I will see you in the next one.